What's up, you guys? Zach Bruno here from Flurry Sports, and happy week 11. Happy Sunday. I assume you're watching this Sunday morning, so let's do a little bit of Sunday morning fantasy football advice for you. I'm recording this Saturday night. If you didn't notice, or if you weren't a part of it, I did an AMA on r/fantasyfootball today, talking Saturday, and we had over 200 questions. It was a blast. It was a lot of fun. So thank you to everyone who showed up and asked their questions. Of course, if you have any questions right now, drop them in the comments of this video, and you can comment your fantasy football questions on any of our videos, by the way, and I'll do my best to jump in and answer them and answer each other's questions as well. But what we are going to do is I pulled 6 of my favorite questions from the AMA that I'm going to answer for you guys here, because a lot of them, some of them have implications just for week 11. Some of them are beyond. And I feel like these 6 questions are a good help to a lot of people, not just this specific person's team, right? So let's just jump right into it. Like I said, I have 6 questions here from the AMA. So let's just jump into this one. This one's from BV-Boo. Thank you for your question. What will Pearsall's usage look like this week? And will he ease back in on a limited snap count, or will he go full send right away? Now, obviously, quick turnaround here. So you guys will know very quickly if I'm correct or wrong. And I don't think there's a clear-cut answer here. So let's just go with what I'm predicting, what I'm thinking is going to happen. But not only is Pearsall back this week, we also have Brock Purdy back this week. And for both of these guys, they've been out for a long time. They weren't really even on IR. They were just out. So there wasn't a reason to rush them back. There wasn't a reason to bring them back this week. So in my mind, if they are playing this week, especially with how well everyone else has played, I feel like they're 100% healthy. Ricky Pearsall, though, I'm more nervous about Pearsall than Brock Purdy for a couple of reasons. First off, Ricky Pearsall's injury was weird the entire time. Like, the entire time he was listed with knee soreness. There wasn't really like a true injury. And I think at the start of this week, he said this is the week he finally started to feel like himself. Okay, like that's alarming. This is someone who was shot, but he has some sore knees and he's not feeling like himself. So that's weird. But I do feel like he is healthy, and the plan is for him to play a pretty much full allotment of snaps. But I personally am being hesitant, being passive with him. I need to see him play his full allotment of snaps before I can start him and trust him. And today, obviously, he plays the Cardinals. So let's see what the betting line is at the current moment. Obviously, the Niners will be favored. It's the Cardinals without Marvin Harrison Jr. Niners are favored by 3.5. So that's actually closer than what I thought it would have been. But even still, here's the thing. If anything goes wrong, I think it's going to be a quarter-by-quarter thing. If anything goes wrong, they have no reason to push Pearsall, right? So already that makes me take a step back in terms of how aggressive I want to be. And then I think the Niners are going to handle this game. I think they're going to win this game. So again, if they're playing and winning with other players, they don't need to push Pearsall anymore. And if they have a lead and they are running the football in those 2 wide receiver sets, maybe 1 wide receiver sets, they're taking Pearsall off the field. He's not going to be on the field to block. So that's another reason why he's out of the lineup. So if I had to make a final prediction, a final guess, I would say he plays around 2/3 of his normal snaps, or 2/3 of the overall offensive snaps. That's my guess. If you have any legitimate wide receiver, I'm starting them over Pearsall. By the way, I'll put my rankings in the description below as well. Updated them on Saturday. I'll update them again between the early, not London game, wherever they are, the Spain game and the other one. So I'll do another update there. But look at my rankings. I am not starting Pearsall if I do not have to, though. That's a long-winded answer to say I need to see it before I believe it. You know what I mean? Okay, next question here. From Mumblau. Thank you, Mumblau. How concerned are you with the weather in Buffalo affecting Baker Mayfield this week? I currently picked up Purdy to start instead. Have been debating Brissett or McCarthy as well. So how concerned, a couple things. How concerned am I about Baker in Buffalo. So if people haven't watched, I do think this weather is changing a little bit. So definitely watch before kickoff. The good news is we got a noon kickoff. So you can make your decision right up until kickoff, obviously, unless you have waivers that process and then they lock them. You know what I mean? But otherwise, you can look to see what the weather is like pregame and then make your decision. What it is at the current moment. At the current moment, it's going to be windy, 20 miles per hour sustained winds, and then gusts around 35 miles an hour. And then there's a chance for some rain or snow. What it sounds like is the rain or snow is not really going to be happening in the game. So we are mostly just dealing with a lot of wind. Does that affect Baker? 100%. I think that affects the deep ball. So if we're thinking of which receivers it's going to impact, I think that impacts Tez Johnson. I don't think he's going to be catching that deep ball. Cade Otton already faces a really tough matchup, but maybe he sees a couple extra targets underneath. Maybe Rashad White sees a few more targets underneath. But am I nervous about Baker? I downgrade him because of the wind. If I have him and I'm starting him normally, I think you can still start him. I'm not afraid of Buffalo's defense. I think Baker's going to be fine. But who were those receivers we were comparing him to, or quarterbacks rather? Why did I click out of it? Purdy, Brissett, or McCarthy. So I obviously Purdy and Brissett play each other. Brissett has been balling, but without Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson's the wide receiver one, Trey McBride there. It just feels easier for the Niners to key in on Trey McBride and say, hey, if you want to pass it, fine. You got to do it without somebody else, though. You have to do it without Trey McBride. So with that reason, I'm not playing Brissett over Baker. Purdy is fine, but I'm probably not playing Purdy over Baker. JJ McCarthy against the Bears is interesting. I think McCarthy can ball. I think McCarthy can absolutely destroy the Bears, but McCarthy can beat himself very clearly as well. He's been doing that this entire time. He just is missing open guys. So if I have this group of quarterbacks, I think I'm still starting Baker. If I had to start a next one, though, it would be JJ McCarthy. It could be a very big Addison game, could be a very big Justin Jefferson game, but it could be a game where Jefferson and Addison are wide open and McCarthy misses them. So you do have to be a little bit nervous, but overall, I'm fine with Baker. Okay, what do we got? Untoasted Toast 11. Is it easier to stream wide receivers or running backs in your opinion? Thinking of general draft strategies. That's a good question. So thinking of next year, do you want to go heavy running back, heavy wide receiver, knowing that, hey, if something goes wrong, I can stream. I think it's easier to stream wide receivers, but to be completely honest, I think it's pretty easy to stream most positions. Anyone who has an early round draft pick suck that are a complete bust, and then that's what they credit their losing season to. They just aren't very good at fantasy football. They just aren't reactive. They don't try hard. I don't know what it is, but you can stream, you can make up for anything. I mean, look at Rico Dowdle. Nobody really drafted him, and if you did, you dropped him at some point probably. So you can stream any position, but running backs, what I would say is they're harder to stream because they're harder to get on waivers. It's more competitive. Pretty much everybody knows who the people you can stream from running backs are. So if it's a fab league, if it's rolling waivers, whatever it is, you're going to have to pay up to get that running back that you can stream. It's very known who that player is, right? Obviously, just for this week, for example, J.K. Dobbins goes down. There's a bunch of usage opening up there. Those are the guys you're streaming. In Washington, Corey Krosky Merritt may not even be active. Rodriguez and people like that are players you can stream. But for wide receivers, those are more in the weeds. Those are more, if you have the research, if you have the knowledge, those are guys that you can just sneak in Sunday morning and grab and start. And you can look at game totals. You can look at individual matchups. You can watch the injury report, both for their team and their opponent. You can look to see where the targets are funneling to, what the defense is doing. So if I go into a season, I personally am looking to stream wide receivers over running backs because I can do that. Like I can figure out throughout the week who those wide receivers who are going to be getting targets is. My opportunity index is very good for that as well. Running backs, if I can have the studs where I don't really need to think about it, or I have the studs and I can pick up those streaming running backs and then flip them for a legitimate weapon, that's what I'm looking to do. Running back would be the second to last position I personally want to stream for my starters, I would say. Quarterback, well, maybe they are the last one. Like, I think you can stream quarterback pretty easily. I think you can stream wide. Yeah, I think running back might be the last one I'm looking to actually stream. But yeah, that's a long-winded answer, as all of these have been. I apologize. Saturday night, again, I'm just tinkering rankings. It's late. Like and subscribe if you got any knowledge here, and definitely ask any other questions or ask me to clarify anything. But yeah, I would prefer to stream wide receivers because I think it's easier to actually get them on my team. It's less competitive. And if I do stream running backs, I'm looking to flip them. It's a buy low, sell high opportunity for me more often than not. Next question. That's a really good question. Late to the party lawyer. How sustainable are McBride's performances from the last month? He's been putting up elite wide receiver 1 numbers, but it seems like he's still mostly valued at or below the second tier wide receivers and running backs like Nico, Buka, Javonte, Kyren, etc. So how sustainable is Trey McBride's performances? Here's the thing. I would typically, like before this week started, say I think it's sustainable. I think his role in this offense, him as a player, and him now having a competent quarterback means he can sustain this level of play. The offense has ran through him, and he's now a red zone threat. He's not just ignored in the red zone. Like last year, he had got that Make-A-Wish touchdown, and that's it. He's actually getting used this year and targeted, and he has a quarterback willing to pull the trigger. So before this week, I would say very sustainable. With Marvin Harrison Jr. out, that's a big deal. With this Cardinals offense, now everything sort of just kind of collapses in on Trey McBride. And now the defense can look at him, and he's the read. The coverage is called off of him. Now he's the wide receiver 1. He's the number 1 receiving target no matter what. And that stinks. He needs someone to take the top off the defense. He needs someone to stretch that defense so they can't just collapse down on him. And will they get that? I don't know. I like Michael Wilson a lot as a player. I don't think he is going to be that in this offense, though. And then they have Greg Dortch. I think they got Wilson there. Like, I just don't think they have another legitimate option. So I don't think his performances are sustainable right now without Marvin Harrison Jr. But if and when he can get back, and I'm skeptical on how quickly he can get back. Maybe he gets back quickly, but just from my mind, in terms of that incision area, like I'm nervous about that, like taking football trauma to that incision area. That feels problematic. That feels like at least a month out, but I could be wrong. Once Marvin Harrison Jr. comes back to take the pressure off on the defense, then great. Until then, I think he's going to be good, but I don't think he's going to be as good as he has been, unfortunately. Okay. How confident are you in RJ Harvey both this week in isolation and rest of season? Obviously, if anyone was under a rock, J.K. Dobbins injured his foot. People weren't talking about it all week. I feel like I was one of the few people talking about it in a legitimate fashion. Not to pat myself on the back. I just felt gaslit by a lot of people. People are acting like it wasn't a big deal. I'm like, no, it sounds like he's on IR. And now it sounds like, I mean, he had surgery. So it sounds like he's done for the entire season. So RJ Harvey promoted to running back 1. How confident am I this week and rest of season? This week he plays the Chiefs, and I'm not confident. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say my confidence level is like a 4 to 5. I think the matchup against the Chiefs is tough. And I think the sudden big increase in role isn't necessarily going to happen because he needs to earn that trust from Sean Payton. And then it's a very, very, very important game with a lot of eyes on you, man. Chiefs are going to be throwing a lot of different blitzes there. They're going to be throwing a lot of different defensive looks. And the Broncos know if they beat the Chiefs in this game, Chiefs are pretty much looking from the outside in on the playoffs. I mean, it's the Broncos division at that point, and the Chiefs, I don't know if they can make the playoffs if they lose this game. So, must-win game for the Broncos in a way. And I'm not sure if Sean Payton's going to be putting that much trust in a rookie. We'll see. He's unbelievable and electric with the ball in his hands. It's the stuff that he does or maybe doesn't do when the ball's not in his hands is the reason why he's not necessarily elevated to be that top guy. Now, the best part about RJ Harvey's situation is that next week he has a bye. I think that bye is so important into getting him more ingratiated into this offense in terms of getting his confidence level up both within himself and with his coaching staff. So rest of season, I would say my confidence level is like a 7. Now, so I want to own him. I think he's an RB2 with upside the rest of the way. This week, I'm still skeptical. He's more of a flex than an RB2. Now, this isn't a situation where he is just the bell cow. This is Sean Payton. He's not just the bell cow. And then in the AMA, I had a few questions about Tyler Beatty. Is Tyler Beatty worth a pickup? I guess he's worth a pickup, but I don't see his role really changing either. He is the receiving back. He's that 2-minute back. He's that situational back, right? He is someone who Payton has a lot of trust in. But you know who else Payton has a lot of trust in? Jaleel McLaughlin. That's a name that you may not have heard in a while, and it may be a name that I didn't pronounce fully correctly. But he is someone who I could see get a pretty darn big role in this offense. Like, I don't think he's going to see as big of a role as RJ Harvey has had this season so far. Like, I don't think it's just going to be RJ Harvey's Dobbins role and McLaughlin is Harvey's role. I think it's a little bit different than that, but I think he's going to be involved. And he is someone that I know Sean Payton has full trust in, and it's why he's been kept around and stuff like that too. So if I'm looking for a pickup, a super deep league, sneaky ass pickup, I like him over Beatty, and I'm willing to take that pickup, and I'm willing to play him if I'm extremely super duper desperate, which in one league I am, and I'm really toying with it. In one league, I have Dylan Sampson as my starting RB2, and I'm really thinking about going McLaughlin. That's going to be a decision that I'm weighing back and forth tonight to be sure. But he's someone I'm definitely looking at. But RJ Harvey, I like him. I'm relatively confident in him rest of season. With that being said, this does feel like a very good sell high opportunity. I think you could sell him for potentially a low end or maybe even a mid-range wide receiver too, depending on how desperate that fantasy owner is for a running back. Like, I think you could offer him for AJ Brown and potentially get him. The question is, do you want AJ Brown? I think you do, but you never know. I think you could potentially get him for DK Metcalf. Do you want DK Metcalf? He's been underperforming, so I think you could use RJ Harvey as a very nice trade bait player as well. Was that the last question, or do we got another one? Okay, last question. Long jumping sink 1948. Would you rather stash Brian Robinson Jr. or Blake Corum? I have Christian McCaffrey. I mean, with you having Christian McCaffrey, you need to stash Brian Robinson Jr. If Christian McCaffrey gets hurt and you lose out on Brian Robinson Jr. because you didn't pick him up, that's on you. Like, that's on you, man. He is involved in the week-to-week offense already anyways. Had made a video including him earlier this week. Like, I like him as an anytime touchdown bet at this point. So as a McCaffrey owner, you absolutely need to own this guy. He is so much more valuable than insert pretty much any running back 4 here, because if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, why great. So you have that running back 4 that maybe gets elevated. It doesn't matter. You want to have Brian Robinson Jr. Week to week, he might not be overly valuable, but if something happens to McCaffrey, then you're good to go because he's a running back 1 if McCaffrey's not playing. So he's the one I am stashing over Corum. Corum should pretty much be owned as well. If you're the Kyron owner, you should own Corum. It's pretty much the same exact scenario, except for if if Kyron and Christian McCaffrey both disappear from the earth today, I'm not even going to say they get injured. I'm not going to put that out there. If they get abducted by aliens and they are no longer with us, I think Brian Robinson Jr. is more valuable than Blake Corum is. So for that reason, in a vacuum, Brian Robinson Jr., I would rather have stash. But if you own either one of those starting running backs, that's the one you absolutely need to go get right now before Sunday kickoff. I'm Zach Bruner. Thanks for hanging out. If you have any other fantasy questions now, throughout the day, next week, whatever, comment them in the comments below, I suppose is what those are called. Ask any questions there. Like and subscribe. Every single day in November, I am posting a brand new video here on this channel. So if you haven't been watching them, maybe go back and catch up on some of these. And if you have any ideas or suggestions for future videos, please let me know. I'm filming a lot of these the night before, so if we could bank a few ahead of time, that would be pretty sick, dude. But good luck on your Sunday and Monday, your week 11 overall. And I'll see you guys soon. Monday night, actually, live stream with the Flurry Sports Podcast. Hope you come join us. See you then. Peace. Fuck yeah.